Welcome back. This is part 2 of this story. So before you start, if you haven't seen part 1 called Will His Porn Use Destroy Our Marriage? Go back and watch that video first. It's the last video that I made before this one. In that video, I read a letter from a woman who had recently discovered that her husband had been using porn for years and hiding it. And it was affecting their intimacy. It was affecting their relationship, both physical and spiritual and emotional. And the revelation nearly destroyed their marriage. Now, 8 months later, a little bit more than 8 months, I got an update from this woman, and she describes exactly how that process of discovery led to changes in their marriage and how they've been recovering together. So, here's part 2. If you'd rather read this letter rather than hearing me read it for you, then you can go over to the website addictedtointernetporn.com and find the article version of this story there. Anana says, Dear Noah, it's now been almost 11 months since the D-Day. April 2nd is burned into my memory. Discovery Day. For the first few months, 3 to 5 with blocking software installed on the router, it was still rocky. I found that while porn and masturbation was out of the picture, the seeking was still a part of his habit. Daily Mail, bikini pictures, Instagram. He wasn't masturbating, but that part of his brain was still seeking stimulation. Along with it, our marriage and his potential as a husband and father was still compromised. Likewise, he was still suffering from PIED, porn-induced erectile dysfunction, to some degree, although he wouldn't admit it. He uninstalled Instagram from his phone and stopped getting news from tabloid websites. Yeah, it looks like he was still seeking out what we call porn substitutes, which are things that society wouldn't label as pornography, but that the user is using for the same purposes, that hit, that jolt of stimulation and eroticism. And continuing to use porn substitutes as you're recovering from an addiction to porn, I wouldn't compare it to like using a nicotine patch or using, methadone. It's something that will keep alive that addiction, and you're cheating yourself out of real recovery if you are still seeking out porn substitutes and rationalizing that that means that you're improving. Is it a little better? I mean, sure, of course. But if you haven't seen my video, How Reducing Porn Use Can Be Harmful, you should go check that one out. I won't get all into that here, but it's a topic that is very worthwhile to know if you're in recovery or if someone you love is in recovery. Within 1 month of quitting everything, my cranky, critical, disengaged husband turned into a kind, loving, and present partner. Yeah, the potential harms of using porn chronically go way beyond just waning erections, and the potential benefits of living porn-free go way beyond simply having satisfying sex again. That's a great benefit. That's the reason that a lot of people start this journey. But there's so much more to be gained. And many men realize that their porn use was affecting their lives, personal and professional, in ways that they did not imagine. And they can really only realize that and see that once they go through the process of quitting and feel how different life can be without porn being a presence. So it makes me really happy to hear that the benefits went beyond the bedroom. Our arguments are infrequent, and where in the old days I know when we would fight, he'd go to porn for comfort, we now end arguments with sex. That sounds a lot nicer. What's amazing to me is that he's now back to factory settings. He has no issues being turned on by just kissing. He doesn't criticize my body. He actually opens his eyes when we're making love and went back to using his hands. For years, when I suspected porn was an issue, he said it was just his age. He's 42. But that was not the case at all. He doesn't talk much about his feelings. That's just not who he is. But he has told me a few things. Porn was an escape, but was never really fulfilling. He wanted a happy marriage and family. Porn takes away your time and energy, but doesn't give you anything worthwhile in return. This realization is critical, and I have discovered that more and more throughout the years. There's that critical point where you just know, not only rationally, but deep down, like in your bones, that there's nothing worthwhile to be found in pornography. And if you're still yearning for porn, you might be sober and you might be on the path, but if you're actively yearning for porn and not figuring out how to get to that place where it's no longer an allure for you, then you're also on the path to relapse and you're at much greater risk of relapsing. At some point, you have to find a way to really know and really understand that there's nothing of substance there to miss, and that you're not giving up porn by living porn free. You're giving up a happy relationship and satisfying sex and self-respect often when you choose pornography. Porn seemed like it wasn't that bad, or it was normal. In his mind, he said he was making excuses and minimizing it. He didn't think I would be as hurt as I was, or he did know and told himself it wasn't going to be that bad so he could continue. The rationalizing brain is a very powerful thing. He never realized how deeply it affected him until he quit, and because of that, he has no interest in it ever again. This one was interesting to me because he lived without porn for most of our relationship before that. No laptop, no internet, flip phone, no magazines, no VCR, no DVD player, sometimes no cable. Perhaps it's the gradual descent into it, and once you've handed porn the wheel, you don't even realize you've become a spectator, not only in the bedroom, but in your life. Yeah, it is a gradual process, and it's difficult to see the harm pile up as it happens. So while he's had his victories and he's done his work to be better, I've had my own work to do. And the following lessons that she has learned along this process I think are really important. So if you're a partner of someone who is recovering from a porn addiction, porn-induced sexual dysfunction, pay special attention to these because I think they're really critical in healing together to understand these. She says, porn arguments are off the table. He's quit. He's living honestly, and forgiveness means that I can't keep throwing it back in his face when I get upset. This is a boundary worthy of respecting. Accepting the things he's doing to rebuild trust. For the first few months, I was still playing cop, and I would get pretty worked up. He went out of his way to show me I could trust him. Instead of looking for every way he could hurt me, I believe in the man he's become, and I'm open to him making himself better, instead of looking for what he could possibly do. Showing gratitude. A relationship infested with problematic porn use is full of resentment. It's part of the cycle, and it was being played out on both sides. Now that the secret is gone and the porn is gone, through a lot of working together on getting to know each other again, we're able to show gratitude. Being truly grateful for your partner, holding on to the good memories and letting go of the bad, has taken our marriage in the direction I've always wanted. I stopped making it about me, for good. Women sometimes find it hard to believe that porn is just a compartmentalized thing. We think it's about us and our attractiveness. Very true, I hear this all the time. We beat ourselves up about it, while the addict sits by helpless and confused about what he can do to make us understand. When I let go of the hurt and realized it's just a dangerous substance, I stopped blaming myself and how I look. Thank you for listening when things were still very new and raw. Thank you for your contributions to helping people avoid the escapism and start living fulfilling lives. Thank you for helping me show compassion and understanding. Well, stories like yours are why I do it. So thank you for sharing yours once again, not just the first time when things were bad, but now, again, giving this update when things are going much better. More than anything, thank you for providing content that helped explain to me what was happening. I knew porn was in the picture and I knew he was changing. I learned a lot watching people explain the issues with problematic porn use. It helped put the pieces together. All I needed was to catch him and bring the issue to light. That night saved my marriage. I have lost track of the amount of people who have told me that the best changes in their lives stemmed from the worst moments in their lives. I have a client who says that the 3 best things that ever happened to him were a heart attack, a divorce that he did not want, and when his current wife discovered his pornography use. And all 3 of those were devastating in that moment, but they all led to massive life changes that have been so much for the better in his life. And it's the same for me. Many of the things that make me who I am today and that empower me to help other people They stem from very painful, traumatic experiences. And that's, I think, something to hold on to and something to really take optimism and inspiration from. And it's not just for individuals, it can be for couples too. Couples who go through the fire of discovery and of all the pain and the betrayal trauma that can happen when pornography is a part of a relationship. But couples who choose to stay together and to work together to heal through that can end up closer and more trusting of each other than ever before. And that's beautiful to see. Now, my focus has been on ensuring my boys aren't affected by this. Thank you for providing content on that as well. What you're doing can save families and save children, all out of a genuine concern for them to live the life they deserve. Thanks again, Anana. Like I mentioned in part 1, that's a big reason why I do this, is for younger people, younger generations. And like I mentioned before, there is a new resource that I really do recommend checking out. If you have a family, if you're a parent or an educator, it's called Brain Defense by the organization Protect Young Minds. And it's a full course with materials that you can use to facilitate educating young people about the hazards of technology. And it's good stuff. So check it out. Link is in the description below, as well as links to a lot of other resources. You can find me, as always, at addictedtointernetporn.com, ways to get my personal guidance and much more resources like this video, other articles. And it's been quite a journey these last, 2014 is when it started. So damn, 7 years, more than 7 years now since this whole journey started for me. And it's been a rocky one at times, but it's changed me and it's helped me to change other people's lives. And I don't take any credit for that. These people, they have to walk their own walk. I'm just grateful to be able to be a part of that and to be able to bring some hope and some education. So anyone out there watching this, know that you're not alone if you're struggling with these things. And you go off and have a wonderful porn-free day. I'll see you next time.